How many of you have ever found a property that you thought would be an awesome investment property, and so you hurry and you put in an offer, and then you find out that you were outbid? Or you found out that the buyer accepted a different offer even though your offer was higher? Well, why is that? Why is it that some people are able to get these properties while other people are not? Well, today I'm going to explain why. In fact, this is the thing that happened just 2 days ago, and I'm going to play it out so that you can understand why I won over other investors. My name is Shiloh Lundahl, and you are watching the Improved channel focused on real estate investing. First off, I should let you know that I get a ton of emails every single day highlighting real estate properties, whether they come from wholesalers or Zillow or Realtor.com or Redfin. I just get all of these emails every day. And it takes me probably 10 minutes a day to scroll through all of the emails and find out if there's a property that I would like to buy or not. Well, 2 days ago, I got an auto-generated email from Redfin. And in that email, it showed a property in a town called Coolidge, Arizona, a town that I've bought probably 15 to 20 properties over the last 5 years, a town where I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm familiar with the city and I'm familiar with the prices in that city. Well, this email was sent out and I saw this property that needed quite a bit of work, and it was on the market for $115,000. And I know from buying and selling properties in that area and some of the research that I've done that 3-bedroom, 1-bath houses usually sell for between $180,000 and $220,000. So buying it at $115,000 was well under market value. Now again, this property needed a lot of work, so I just saw it and then I kind of went back to what I was doing. And then a couple of hours later, I saw another property come up on the market, and this other property was selling for $135,000. This was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and it was in a little bit better shape than the first one that I saw. I compared the selling price of $135,000 with a lot of the prices that wholesalers send out for that city, and I knew that this price was less than what a lot of wholesalers would wholesale this property for. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and call the realtor and find out some information. So the first lesson in being able to get your offer accepted above other people's is make contact with the seller's agent and find out some information and make an introduction. You want them to know who you are rather than just being a name on a piece of paper that comes in with an offer. Usually you can find out who the seller's agent is simply by going to Zillow and looking up the property. You scroll down and then you can see the seller's agent, and a lot of times their number is right there also. So I called the number in the listing and it turned out to be the broker. And so the broker gave me the number to the agent, so I reached out to the seller's agent directly and I asked her more information about the property. And it turns out that this property was owned by an investor, and he had owned it for a lot of years, and he had had renters in this property for a long time, and that maybe they just didn't take care of it really well, and so he was just ready to sell it. And he was selling it at a discount because he knew that the property needed a lot of repairs. So as I was talking to the agent, I not only found out that the seller was selling this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, but that he also owned the home that was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So I mentioned to the agent that I was interested in buying both properties, and she said that if I came in with an offer for both properties, that the seller would likely accept my offer because that way it would save him on some of the closing costs if he could just do one transaction through title. Another helpful hint in getting your offer accepted above others is finding out what it is that the seller wants. The seller had 2 properties and he wanted to sell both of the properties. And so rather than just offering on one property, I offered on both properties. I asked the agent more questions about the property, like the 6 questions that I usually ask, which is really important if you're going to put in an offer on a property that you find out this information. So I asked, how's the foundation? How's the electrical? How's the plumbing? How's the roof? How's the heating and cooling? And how does the property smell? Because all of those things can have a big impact in the price of the rehab. In the course of our conversation, the agent told me that the properties were in pretty bad condition and they would probably need about $50,000 each for repairs. So that was helpful for me in kind of estimating my rehab costs. And to be honest, I didn't just trust what the agent said. I also compared it with several other properties that I've recently done and the costs of the rehabs on those properties that I've recently completed. And I think that $50,000 each is probably a pretty good number. So I told the seller's agent that because of the total cost of repairs that I wanted to come in just a little bit lower than asking. I said that I'd come in at $105,000 for the one that he was trying to sell for $115,000, and I'd come in at $120,000 for the one that he was trying to sell for $135,000. So my total offering was going to be $225,000 for both properties. So she said, great, go ahead and send me that information in a text, and then I will send you out pictures showing a little bit more detail about the repairs that need to be made with the property. So I thought, great. I went ahead and I sent her out that information, and then I waited and I waited and I waited. In fact, I waited the rest of the day and I didn't get a single text back from her. So the next morning I went ahead and I called her. She didn't answer, and then I sent another text and she replied and said that the property had multiple offers at asking price. So another thing to note in order to get your offer accepted above other offers is to be the first to come and make the offer. That's really, really helpful, is you want to be first to make that offer. Well, in this case, it didn't seem to work very well because now this seller had gotten multiple offers at asking price. So why would an investor choose to go with my offer when my offer was only $225,000 for both, and they were both on the market for a total of $250,000? Why would a seller who is an investor choose my offer over somebody else's? Well, you remember that I was offering on both properties, not just one, so I did have that in my favor. And the agent said that if I was willing to come up, then he may go with my offer. I was willing to come up because I knew that these were good deals, but I didn't want to come up too much. So this is what I did. I said, you know what, I can come up another $5,000. So I was bringing my offer up to $230,000, still $20,000 less than what he was selling these for at a discount. But then I said I could go ahead and put in a $20,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit. So what does that tell the seller? That tells the seller that I'm in it, I've already looked at it, I've decided I want to do this deal, and I'm not going to back out. And if I back out, you get $20,000. So all of a sudden, my offer became much stronger with this non-refundable $20,000 earnest money deposit. Now, many of you guys might think, whoa, you mean you're going to do that without looking at the property? And when it comes to really good deals in competitive markets, it's really important to have already done your research, to know what the costs are going to be. You see the pictures, you can tell kind of what's going on in the pictures. You ask specific questions like I already did about the foundation, the roof, and everything like that. And I know about how much money I'm going to need to bring in into the rehab in order to get these properties where they need to be. So I already have a pretty good idea of my numbers, and I'm buying them for $20,000 less than the discounted price that he already listed them at. So I'm feeling pretty good and pretty confident about my decision here. So I put in my offer with a $20,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit, and I waived the inspection period. But I did say this one little thing that's going to help me. I said, I've already looked at the pictures, and as long as the property is according to the pictures, then we shouldn't have any problem. It gives me a little bit of time to go down and take a look at it and make sure that the property is according to the pictures. And if it is, then I'm locked in. But if it's not, I can go back to the seller's realtor and say, hey, look, you took pictures of this property, but you left out this big issue. And I talked with you about these things and you didn't mention this. And so, no, because of this issue that wasn't disclosed, I have to go ahead and change my offer. So it gives me a little bit of an out. Also, another thing, if you haven't guessed it already, that gave me an advantage over other buyers is that I'm buying this house in cash. But I'm not really buying it in cash. I'm going to be buying it with a hard money lender. But when you go to buy a house from a wholesaler, a lot of times the wholesalers say, well, you can't get financing on it. You need to buy it in cash. And since hard money closes almost as quickly as cash, a lot of wholesalers will accept you buying the house with hard money loans. So I made my offer in cash, even though I am going to switch it to using a hard money lender as soon as we're in contract. Because again, that's not really a big issue, and I've never had that become an issue later on when I said that I was going to buy it with a hard money lender. but she wants to know that I can close on it in cash. So I sent her a screenshot that showed some accounts that have enough money in order to buy that property in cash. So whether you have the money in the accounts or whether you need to reach out to your hard money lender and say, hey, can you just send me a quick letter saying that you would be willing to fund this deal? Either one of those work just fine. So I'm buying the property in cash. I'm putting $20,000 as a non-refundable earnest money deposit. I'm buying it as is. Even though I'm buying it under market value, I have all of these things going for me. Another thing I have going for me is that I already know that market and I own several properties in that city. So I'm able to come to the negotiation table saying that, hey, you know what? I know the city. I already have several properties in that city, and these properties would work really, really well for me to add to my portfolio. Another thing that I mentioned to the seller's realtor is that I'm not a wholesaler. When I go to buy this property, I'm buying it for me as an investment property. I'm not going to try to wholesale that property to other people. So I think that also helped her feel that I was legitimate, that I wasn't just going to get this property under contract and then I was going to send it out to somebody else hoping that somebody else would buy it, and that now she had to deal with another person through me. She'd have to go and deal with another investor somewhere that had their own set of questions. So she knew that she was talking with the end investor, which I think also gave me a leg up. So the seller's realtor took my offer and presented it to the seller, and the seller accepted my offer above other offers that came in at full price. So you don't need to have the highest offer in order to win deals. You just need to come in with a really, really strong offer and help that seller know that you're serious and that you're going to go ahead and close on this deal. And I think one of the biggest things that helped him know that is I said, hey, I'm going to give you a big earnest money deposit and I'm going to make it non-refundable. So when you come to the negotiation table and you present a really strong offer, including non-refundable earnest money, and you make that a high non-refundable earnest money deposit, it tells the seller that you're serious and that you're ready to play ball. And that if you go into contract with this buyer, this property is likely not going to fall out of contract. So those were the methods and the strategies that I used in order to get my offer accepted above other offers. So if you thought this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And I will continue to produce the best quality videos that I can for you so that you can improve your ability to be successful as a real estate investor. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day. If you're looking to learn more about real estate investing, then check out these videos, including this playlist on lease options.